Style.
Football's football no matter where you play it. You got grass, you got cleats, and you got helmets with masks.
The American culture plays a profound role as one of the main reasons that explains the U.S. men's soccer team inferiority. The great discrepancies in the popularity of the sports are especially shown in these statistics, with the 2014 Super Bowl being watched with a 4 to 5-fold increase compared to the 2010 World Cup. Some reasons that explain the lack of viewership of American soccer are ties, no playoffs, metrosexual versus robust, and capitalism.
And we're going to play till there's a winner and there's a loser. What's that?
A tie.
Okay, till there's a winner, a loser, or a tie. You can tie.
If you tried to end a game in a tie in the United States, heck, that might be listed in Revelations as the cause for the apocalypse.
If there is one thing that's evident about Americans is that we are goal-driven, with the goal being winning. In just about every other U.S. sport, there's no such thing as ties. Usually some sort of tiebreaker will be enforced, such as overtime or sudden death. However, this is not in the case for the World Cup, in which tying is allowed. Some teams can use this to their advantage, and they can strategize different ways that allow them to advance in the World Cup, which also implies that the winner doesn't necessarily reflect the team that has the most competence. Many Americans often find it hard to accept this, since the framework behind our American dream arises from the fact that diligence and hard work will ultimately lead to success.
Have any goals this season? Absolutely. We're going to win a lot of games. We're going to get in the playoffs.
No playoffs.
There's no playoffs. Again, my job just got a lot easier. Ties and no playoffs.
In addition to the allowance of ties, there are also no such things as playoffs, which ultimately brings down the competitive nature of the sport. In most other sports, the teams have to do particularly well in the season in order to advance to the playoffs, so they can eventually advance to the finals. However, this isn't the case for soccer.
Guys, all I'm looking for is 60% effort 4,000% of the time. That's it, skip. Skip like little girls. Go, not a care in the world. I'm lucky to be doing this for a living. Killing me. John, what do you got on there pants-wise? What is those? 3/4. And I get those in the women's section.
You know, things like the art of flopping.
Stay down, wait till the ref sees it, and now you're up. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Nice job, nice job.
Another reason that explains the unpopularity of men's soccer in the U.S. is that it is usually seen as one of the more metrosexual sports compared to other more robust sports such as football or basketball. Since men often express their masculinity and athleticism through sports, specifically contact sports, soccer is usually not the most popular option. Soccer players often use a tactic called flopping, in which they exaggerate contact given to them by their opponent by falling to the ground or faking an injury, which for some athletes from other sports see as cowardly. But this also gives an advantage to the running time of soccer games, so by faking an injury, it can eat up more time.
One thing that's become a little difficult for me is how early these games start because of the time difference. So that means early drinking, and early drinking.
Because of the capitalistic economy, the pursuit of profit has turned sports into a money-making machine. Since soccer is hardly considered popular in the U.S., it would make sense that there are minimal investments going into it compared to other sports, which also results in the lack of TV broadcasting. And if or when it is broadcasted, the games are usually shown at inconvenient times, such as early in the morning. And since soccer games are on a running clock, there are no proper broadcasting breaks for commercials, leading to less investors and less sponsorships. The average football game has about 23 commercial breaks and 100 ads. Other U.S. sports' stop-and-go nature make it easier to insert ads and commercials during broadcasting, but soccer's 45-minute continuous halves make it a less popular sport for investors, causing a decrease in advertisement.
A lot of small similarities.
Any team I coach, they're going to play hard for all 4 quarters, okay?
2 halves.
What's that?
2 halves.
Okay, halves. They're going to play hard for 2 halves.
Another reason why there are relatively hardly any investments going into soccer is because the way the game is set up. Soccer is played in 2 uninterrupted halves, which means that there is minimal room for advertisements or commercials. Because sports are especially profitable in our capitalistic economy, soccer games aren't exactly the most desirable place to showcase advertisement. This is due to the lack of viewership. One of the main reasons why the U.S. men's soccer team is inferior to European soccer teams has to do with cultural upbringing. Because of its origins across Europe, the Europeans not only are more experienced, but they also have higher expectations of themselves with the game. In America, athletes are usually drafted professionally either during or after college, mostly the latter, but in Europe, they have less scouting regulations and do not have to follow NCAA rules, which allows younger athletes to be scouted by professional teams by showcasing their athletic abilities. So due to the differences in college systems and scouting rules in other countries, it is not uncommon to see players skipping college to go professional by their early teens. Another cultural difference is because the U.S. college and education plays a critical role in obtaining the American dream. Thus, it is also frowned upon for athletes in the U.S. to skip college to go pro, whereas in Europe it is seen as culturally acceptable.